Hello folks, Pop Top 912. Today I am on Lake Lanier and it's pretty much in the middle of my summertime trolling pattern now, and I've been wanting to put this video out for a minute, but been having a little trouble with the wind. We've had some pretty strong consistent winds coming through the area, so every time I try to make this video the wind just gets in the way and the audio quality is pretty bad. So it's pretty calm today, so I'm gonna try to get this video done for you, let you know what I'm doing out here on the lake in the middle of summertime when I'm trolling for stripers. And what I'm doing a combination of short line, intermediate line, and long line trolling. I got Leadcore that I'm letting out anywhere from 250 to 300 feet behind the boat. Then I got copper core line that I'm letting out about 150 to 175 feet. And lastly, I have my downriggers that are going about 50 to 75 feet behind the boat. And those three combinations right there have been really good for putting fish in the boat for me this year. So we'll start off with the Leadcore. This is your Leadcore line. It's I don't know what kind, I think it's nylon. It's a nylon outer sheathing with a lead core running down the center of it. The lead is the weight and the nylon is the strength. I run 36-pound Leadcore. A lot of people run 27, but I just tend to run 36. That's what I like to use. The baits that I'm using, it's a combination of store-bought baits and baits I pour myself. But for the most part, chartreuse is a great color in the summertime on Lanier. And as far as head size, anywhere from 1 to 3 ounces, just whatever I pull out the tackle box. I hadn't really had any big differences in the lead heads. They do adjust the depth about a foot depending on which one you use, but not a real big deal for me, at least, in how I'm doing this. First thing I do, I let my line out and I make sure that my bait is tracking true. Once I know that bait's tracking true, I'll release the lever, start letting that line out. I use anywhere from a 20 to a 30-foot leader these days. And I am going 8 colors back. 7 to 8 colors, but 8 has been pretty good. I'll start off doing 7 on one and 8 on the other. And we'll see which one they're biting on best. And then I'll adjust accordingly. But this line has 10 different colors. Each color is 30 feet long. And trolling at 3.5 miles an hour, each color is getting you about roughly 3 foot down. And when you're riding over trees like I am right now, every now and then I'll just thumb the line so that bait will rise back up instead of just free falling to the bottom. That'll keep you out of a lot of trouble with the trees. You can see I'm not really counting these colors because I do this so often. I know which color I'm trying to get to. So once you memorize the colors on your Leadcore spool, it's a lot easier. Then I just set my drag. I want it to be where if I get a nice fish on there pulling, for whatever reason my motor's not tracking well this morning. But anyway, as I was saying, I want enough so if I pull it, it'll come out. That way if I get a big enough fish on there, the shock won't snap my leader. I run a 20-pound leader on all my setups. This is my copper line here. I run a little longer leader. I run about a 25-foot leader on this one. You can see that's just a different jig head and a different waddy. This is one that I pour myself here. Again, I'll let that out. Make sure it's tracking through. And then I just go for what I know. Now this copper is something new that I just added to the system this year, and I'm really enjoying it. It's about twice as heavy as the Leadcore, so it falls twice as fast. Now what I do, I let the leader out before I start my line counter. That way I can have a true distance on my copper itself. Like I said, I'm letting this out. I'm gonna let this one out 160, and I'm gonna reel it back into 150. And I do that to make sure that the copper is tight on the spool while I'm trolling. And thumb that copper. Keep your thumb on that copper because it will backlash, and it's not very fun when it backlashes on you like that. Had that happen the first couple times I started working with it. Then I realized what I was doing. Now I don't really have that much of a problem anymore. And I do think that over spooling it and then pulling it back in does help with keeping that line tight and cutting down on those backlashes or that line just getting tangled up. So that one's out at 160 now. Take my drag, gonna pull it into 150. Last setup that I use is the Downriggers, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the other side of the boat set with these two, and then I'll come back for the Downriggers with you guys. All right, folks, got everything out now, and I'm trolling. I got one more Downrigger setup to put out, so I told you I'd come back and let you know what I was doing with my Downriggers. So I'm gonna let you know now. This is my setup for Downriggers. I run a double stack on my Downrigger, and on the bottom I'm running a blacks clip, and right here is where you will hook the ball. Just hook the ball right there, and then this is the blacks clip. It snaps in, pops out. That's your tension release right there. Now with this clip, all you do, you let your line out as far as you want to let it go. And I'm doing a demonstration with Leadcore just so you can see. Then you just take that line, twist it around your finger about 4 times, and immediately take your finger out. Because you don't want to get a fish on it and that thing get caught on your finger. You can take your finger out. But all you do, you got that loop that you made, you put it right on that clip, and then it's gone. So those twists, they'll twist down right to the metal, and that'll keep the line from pulling one way or another. So when the fish gets on, or if you're ready to move, all you do is just pull and it releases, and now it's just you and the fish. So that's the black split. The other clip that I use is a Roma release. This is an adjustable clip. You fold this lever down and it'll run up and down the line wherever you want it. When you get the distance set that you want, push that lever up and it locks it in place. Now with this one, it's basically the same thing except for you want to twist that line a couple times, and then there's a release mechanism right here. You basically slide the line inside the release, snap it down, and then you take the line to the bait and the line to the pole and slide it through there. Now, when the fish gets on or you're ready to release, boom, it snaps like that. So that's how the roamer release works. Now you can see I use a 150-pound Dacron nylon cable because I don't like the metal cables for the downrigger because it creates an annoying hum, and after about 2 or 3 hours it makes you go mad. So I got rid of that, and I just use this cable here. There's no noise from it. It's very strong, and I got a fish on it. Be back momentarily. Alright folks, now that I got that fish in, I'll continue to tell you about the rest of the downrigger setup. I showed you the 2 clips that I use. One is a permanent clip right by the ball. I'm running an 8-pound ball. I would prefer to run a 10-pound, but I got 8s on there, so that's what I do. You just have to look at your look at the angle that the line runs out the boat, and then just use a little math to figure out where you want to be. Pretty much running 3.5 miles an hour with the 8-pound ball. That ball is running about 45 degrees behind the back of the boat. So you just do your tangent function, and you can tell you how deep you are because of that 45, how much line you let out. Look it up if you don't know how to do that function. But here's my bottom rod. This one has 20 foot of 20-pound fluorocarbon leader connected to 45 feet of the 36-pound Leadcore. And I change my Leadcore every year, and when I take it off, I'll just save it because I use it to make these leaders. You're going to get some of these hung up in trees or caught on things like that, so just keep that old Leadcore, at least keep 1 spool of it. That's enough for last year. Well, got another fish on me. Alright guys, so not really sure where I left off with the Leadcore. I mean, the downrigger demonstration, so I'm just going to start back from where I know I can start. It's just starting back at the rods again. So my bottom rod has 20 foot of 20-pound fluorocarbon, then 45 feet of the 36-pound Leadcore, and then 80 to 120-pound braid is my spool on my main line. I change my Leadcore every year, so when I'm changing it, I'll take one of the rods and I'll just reel it back on the spool, and I'll use that to make these 45-foot clips of Leadcore. And what I'm doing with that is I want my ball to sit here, and that Leadcore is going to make my bait drop another 3 to 5 feet. So now that bait is here and the ball's up a little higher. So that way, that bait's a little below the ball. Some people say that the ball will spook the fish. I don't know one way or the other, but this is something that I'm trying out, and I will say that I did catch 2 fish pretty quick on the Leadcore doing that. So that's what I do on my bottom clip. So I'm just gonna let this line out the back, and once I get it out, when you let it out, once you get it engaged in the clip, you want to turn your clicker on, but then leave your spool open. What that's going to allow you to do is when you start to let that downrigger ball go, it'll let this line feed itself out, and it'll feed it out at a controlled rate so that you don't get any backlash on your spool. That's one of the key traits to a downrigger, is doing that, especially when you're double stacking. So I'm going to put this one out, and I'll show you the other rod, which is basically the same rod, except for I'll just have 25-pound main line. No leader, no swivels, no nothing. I just tie my jigs straight to the main line. I let it out between 30 and 50 feet, and then I clip it onto that roamer release, and I go ahead and continue to drop. Now my separation between the blacks and the roamer is about 5 feet. So I'm gonna put this one on, drop it 5 feet, put the second one up, get my clickers engaged, and then I'm gonna drop it, the whole thing, put the ball about 25, 30 feet down. And again, because it's going at a 45-degree angle, it's really not getting 25 feet down. You just gotta use your math, use your tangent function, and you can determine your depth. But that depth range with the extra length and depth of the Leadcore has allowed me to catch some decent fish. And what I did, I was letting it out 15 feet, but I'm letting it out another 10 feet so I can get that other one a little bit deeper. I'm running over the main channel right now, so I'm anywhere from 80 to 140 feet. Not really worried about getting hung up in trees if I get below that 35-foot depth right now. Also, always check your bait to make sure it's running true. Let her about 5 feet after my Leadcore so that I can have enough meat to hook it into the clip. So now I'm going to engage the clicker. I'm going to release the spool. Do a real quick 1, 2, 3, 4. Take my fingers out of there. I do not want to get a fish on while my finger's stuck inside of that braided line. Also check your tip to make sure that that line doesn't swip around the tip. Take a look at what I'm doing. This one I'll set on my outside clip. Right there. Make sure that line's not pushed around the tip. When you drop that 8-pound ball, you will break that tip. And again, this one here is just straight 25-pound mono. All the way to the back, all the way in. 25-pound mono. Swimming true. It's 40 feet. Grab that line. When you're releasing the ball, you have to hold the roamer clip. So now, I'm going to lock that roamer in. Both of those are clipped in. I need to drop this ball to get this line clear. There for a second. Finish these lines. Fish came off, but so what?